Here's your wrestling news for February 26, 2023, and we're kicking off today with Smackdown as this week's show saw another episode of the Firefly Funhouse, which began with two hands playing with Undertaker figures. On the surface, this simply appeared to be an homage to the dead man, but some fans believe that there was much more at play. Many fans recognize those hands as belonging to Alexa Bliss, though the former Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion's face wasn't shown on screen. The last time fans saw Bliss, she lost a match at the Royal Rumble, and after being bested by Bianca Belair, Uncle Howdy appeared on the big screen to ask Bliss when's the last time she had control. It wasn't long after Bray Wyatt's return to WWE last October that the promotion teased another change of character for Bliss, but the promotion is taking their time with whatever they have planned. We'll have to see what role Bliss plays next after her pseudo return to TV this week, but what do you think should happen with the goddess? Sound off in the comments. Speaking of SmackDown, this week's show saw the blue brand continue to build towards WrestleMania, but there were a lot of changes to this week's show. Sean Ross Sapp reported behind Fightful's paywall that WWE switched up a couple of plans for this week, including plans for Tegan Nox. As we reported earlier this week, Nox made the save after Natalya's loss and post-match beatdown by Shayna Baszler, and originally the Welsh superstar was supposed to be laid out and sell some injuries. Liv Morgan wasn't around on television, but she was apparently planned to be a part of the broadcast until a few hours before the show went live and plans changed. Morgan was one of the hottest acts in WWE in 2022, but the former SmackDown Women's Champion has lost considerable steam since then, and time will tell what WWE has planned for her on the road to WrestleMania. It's safe to say that last Christmas was not a good one for Dominik Mysterio, who, after showing up to his grandparents' house uninvited to taunt his father, was arrested by police for disturbing the peace. Since those fateful holidays, fans have seen Prison Dom on WWE TV, and his time behind bars has proven to be a life-altering experience for the Judgment Day member. I think that the fans don't believe that I actually did hard time. They don't believe that I did time in prison, but what they don't realize is that once things got out of hand at my grandparents' house, they took me away. Dominik reiterated that his time in prison happened, adding that Rhea Ripley, Finn Balor, and Damian Priest were all there when he was released, so they know how real it was. On this week's SmackDown, Dominik once again confronted his father, teasing a likely match at WrestleMania 39, and we imagine that Dom's time fighting for his life behind bars will have trained him well for facing his legendary father. This time last year, Matt Riddle was one of WWE's most popular superstars, but it's been quite some time since we saw the original bro on TV. After failing WWE's wellness policy, Riddle was written off of TV last December and has spent his time away from the ring in rehab. Riddle was reportedly told that if he didn't enter rehab, he'd be fired, and now the former US champion has made his first comments since getting out. On Twitter, the WWE superstar grooved to a song while showing off his physique and declared that "freedom isn't free, bro." This video comes weeks after Riddle tweeted a hint that he was returning to the ring soon, but it has been reported that WWE has no plans for the King of Bros at WrestleMania 39. If WWE does bring Riddle back before WrestleMania, it'll likely be as one of the names in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And have you been missing Riddle since he last competed in December? Let us know in the comments. Since coming to WWE over 5 years ago, Ronda Rousey has had a unique relationship with the fans and the WWE's women's division. Fans haven't forgotten about Rousey's kayfabe-shattering video in the run-up to WrestleMania 35, in which she spoke about the fake fighting that goes on. Despite returning last year as a face, it didn't take long for fans to turn on her again, and recently, the baddest woman on the planet took aim again at WWE's women's division. On Twitter, Rousey addressed the lack of established female tag teams in WWE, saying that the entirety of the SmackDown women's tag division seems to be Natalya and whoever she can recruit to her lost cause. Rousey also said that while the Usos regularly defend their tag titles, even after Jay's exit from the Bloodline, Damage Control rarely defend their titles, and asked, "What the hell is going on here?" Now aligned with Shayna Baszler, it has been reported that the plan is for the two MMA fighters to win the tag titles at WrestleMania 39, and this tweet may have been the first step towards Ronda's next taste of championship gold. In just 34 days, WWE will host the first night of WrestleMania 39, and there's been a lot of talk about which match will headline that show. We know that Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes will headline Night 2, and earlier this week, it was reported that Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair is the favorite to close out Night 1. With that said, there's also the possibility that Sami Zayn's immense popularity could mean that Night 1 ends with him and Kevin Owens facing the Usos, but don't expect answers from the superstars themselves. When Ringside News asked sources in WWE, they said that the main event of Night 1 has been decided, and it has been the sole decision of WWE's head of creative, Triple H. While the Game was the one who made the call, it was added that Vince McMahon and Nick Khan likely know what the main event will be, but that Triple H has told nobody else in the company. Information about which match will headline Night 1 of WrestleMania 39 will be shared internally at the appropriate time. And what match do you think should headline the first night of WWE's biggest 2 nights of the year? Next month, WWE 2K23 will launch for various consoles, and there's been a lot of talk about the ratings in the games. As you'd expect, Roman Reigns is ranked very high for the new game, and in fact, his 99 rating is the highest ranking for any superstar in any 2K game that's used the ranking system. Reacting to his ranking on Instagram, the undisputed WWE Universal Champion gave a yes sir, as the head of the table has another accolade to add to his Hall of Fame-worthy career. This week, the Wrestling Observer newsletter shared their annual awards, as voted for by the website's subscribers. One of the categories that fans voted on was for the worst match of 2022, and the latest unlucky recipient is the impromptu match at WrestleMania 38 between Pat McAfee and Mr. McMahon. We'll be the first to admit that the match is no Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, and on Twitter, McAfee reacted to his win, stating, "My brain may have been used during the planning of all this, so I appreciate the award, obviously. I'm not a movie guy, I didn't watch shows, I don't play video games. From an entertainment standpoint, football and wrestling are literally the only 2 things I've ever consistently watched and loved for my whole life. Cheers to you all, I'll remember that night in Jerry World forever." After dispatching of Austin Theory in an entertaining match, McAfee lost to McMahon thanks to Theory's interference, in what is the chairman's sole WrestleMania victory. Post-match, McMahon, Theory, and McAfee would all be on the receiving end of Stone Cold Stunners, and this week's award won't stop Pat from being thrilled with his WrestleMania in-ring debut. And we're ending today with Cody Rhodes, who has been on a roll since returning to WWE last April and returning from injury at the Royal Rumble. During his time away from WWE, Rhodes worked in many promotions and spent some time with New Japan's Bullet Club, and fans were treated to a mini reunion this week. After Rhodes defeated Finn Balor at a Road to WrestleMania Super Show at the State Farm Center in Champaign, Illinois, the American Nightmare was attacked post-match by Damian Priest and Dominik Mysterio. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson of the OC came out to make the save, and Rhodes would address the live crowd, saying that he wants to be part of the club. The 3 men capped off their segment by throwing up the "too sweet" hand gesture, and while Rhodes is firmly back in WWE, the former New Japan alum hasn't forgotten about those who helped him on his journey back to WWE.